First time I stepped into the Athens Theater was August the 23rd, approximately, of 1986. I came here to see A Chorus Line. I'm thinking in the back of my mind, there is no way that this little town is going to pull off a chorus line because it takes 20 some odd singers and dancers, and I don't think there's 20 people in this town. Literally blew my socks off. I came into this theater, the walls were scratched, the seats were wooden, those things that you expect in an old movie theater, which I'd been told it was, and it was a little beat up inside, but folks, I tell you, the aura and the spirit and the joy and the fun was there.
When I first came in here, I think I was 9, and it was a theater camp. I sat in the back row because I was really scared of the people there because I was one of the younger ones. I was a little creeped out by the place. It was just big. I'd never been in here. There was a lot of strangers standing up against the stage talking, and I kept wondering why they would sit and then jump off the edge of the stage, and then they'd tell us that we couldn't jump off the edge of the stage.
I'm a social person, so I like being with a few people. I don't like huge crowds, but I like theater crowds because it's anywhere from 5 to 20 or 37. I think we had in Guys and Dolls. And that's fun because like I said, you're always getting to meet new people and something different every night. You just never know what's going to happen here. Be it a set thing, a prop thing, a person thing, like me coming out as Harry the Horse and saying to the fellow I'm supposed to be saying to, hello, Harry, and I'm Harry, so those things happen.
Hey, Harry the Horse! What's happening? Oh, nice to see you. You know, nicely, Johnson.
It's second home for me. I spend most of my free time, I'm usually somewhere in downtown New Bern, and the theater's one of my stops. My dad can say, hey, I'm gonna go run errands, I'm gonna stop by the coffee shop, I'm gonna stop by the theater, and it's like, oh, you're going to the theater, let's go.
You build such a camaraderie, no matter who shows up to do a show. It's a whole different group of people, and even if it's some of the same people, it's a different show that you're doing. So you get to learn a little more about the people that are in the show. But for the building itself, I don't think there's really anything that's going to change. I think if you come in wanting to feel the spirit of the building and be a part of the spirit of the building, and you go out of here with an aura and a euphoria that other people don't get.
How did you find your ticket, ma'am?
Well, hey, shut your pie hole. Good, didn't I tell you not to interrupt? This is the best part. Crack, smack, whack, dead.
It's an actor's tradition for most actors during a show, especially during the kids' shows. We'll all be back there with Sharpies and we'll draw all over the walls, and you'll see names and little poems and stories and characters or little inside jokes from the shows. I remember in Willy Wonka, one of our older cast members got a ticket on their way to rehearsal. So we changed the song I've Got a Golden Ticket to I've Got a Speeding Ticket, and that's written somewhere on one of the back walls.
Sue and I had never done a show together, so having, at this age, being able to literally play Ethel and Norman at these ages even made it better than playing it at a younger age or seeing it at a younger age, because I really felt I was Norman. I really did. To me, when you can feel that you are the part, you know, you can do that for other parts, but you let go of them, and the Norman part, I couldn't let go. It was just one of those things that I was emotional during the show too, and there were a couple times that I actually cried on stage during the rain scene because it was such a tender moment with Ethel and the daughter, and one particular with Chelsea, because I had a daughter like that.
Else, if you're worried about the will, you're going to inherit everything I don't take with me.
Stop it, Norman. I don't want anything. We've just been mad at each other for too long.
I didn't know we were mad at each other. I thought we just didn't like each other.
Norman, I want to be your friend.
I don't get emotional for very many shows, but that one I did. And but it truly was a great show. I think everybody loved it. You know, we're still hearing comments about it, and Sue still calls me Norman, and I still call her Ethel.
She does not. She calls you old poop.
Well, she does that too.
When I was Rapunzel in Into the Woods, it was before the show started. I had my window open and I was sitting there in my tower looking. One of our cast members, I think he was Cinderella's prince in that show, and his little sister was sitting in the audience on her mom's lap, just smiling at me, but she thought I was the coolest person, and it was just, it was so cute to have a little girl watching me the whole show, even though I sang a couple lines and just sat there in a window the whole time.
Why didn't you tell me you had a visitor?
It was lonely atop that tower.
I gave you protection and yet you disobeyed me?
I am no longer a child. I wish to see the world.
And that has to be one of my favorite memories.
The young people that are coming on, it's so great to watch the kids like Zoey, who came from sitting on my lap over at Masonic Temple doing ghost walk and being this precocious little kid that I want to slap. She is a great young lady, and she will have probably a good experience at a higher level. So our kids come along at the kids shows and things, and they progress into the next level where they can really do some backstage things and do the lights. And so if you can really feel your way around, these kids really get a place here, and I think they feel like they belong. They can get along with the adults just fine. You know, they don't feel like they're kids. They feel like they're part of us. You know, so to me, it's like a family. And if they can enjoy the family, they'll enjoy the building as such, you know, and everything that goes on in the building. It's a great future for our young people, because they're going to come getting earlier what I waited to 34 and a half to get.
I know I have a lot of people here I can easily rely on, because they all have one common thing, and that is to perform together. There's not the regular stress of everyday life. They're all coming together to do something that they want to do, which makes the disposition in a whole crowd a lot better than if they're being forced to do something.
The first time I was ever on stage here at Bern Civic was with Footlight Players when we did Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
Didn't they have to change the name on the marquee out
Yes,
here?
yeah, they did.
What did they change?
That's when we had a big marquee that stuck out over the sidewalk here. That was the old theater marquee. And the Baptist church across the street, once we put the whorehouse on there, they made us change that. They said that wasn't very up and coming for this side of town. So they changed it to the Chicken Ranch. So it became the Best Little Chicken Ranch in Texas.